Alright, so hello everybody and welcome to the stream. This time I'm gonna try for the first time TMPGEnc Video Mastering Works 7, which is a very powerful, in my humble opinion at least, very powerful video editor. A little known though, because Pegasus, well, in my opinion they produce very solid software, but I don't know, for some reason they are not very known. I guess their marketing sucks or something. Anyway, let's get into it now. So first things first, what is this? This is the main page, the web page. I'm gonna start with that. I know it's boring, but it's helps set the tone, show you kind of what we're talking about today. So TMPGEnc Video Mastering Works just came out today, the trial version. It has been out in the Japanese market for a month or so, I think, and now finally the English version is at hand, and we can start. You can start downloading today. It's a full-fledged trial version. The full version per se, so the unlock keys and such, they are going to be up for sale on the 25th, if I remember. Yeah, on sale date June 25th. You can see it there. But enough chatting. Let's bring up the main window. So this is a weird way to start a program, but I'm accustomed to it. I'm gonna walk you through it just for fun. But be aware, I'm starting this program for the first time. I have used Pegasus software before, but not Video Mastering Works, so I'm equally ignorant as anybody watching this stream. But I think I'm gonna have fun discovering all the things, all the features that this program has to offer. Alright, so first things first, this is the greeting screen. You get your recent projects here. Of course, we have none at the moment. Plugins, which I'm not concerned about right now. Here's the gist of things. Project. You can start a new project in two different modes. I'm familiar with those, very familiar in fact. Mostly the normal mode from the other program I'm using. So there's two kind of projects you can do. Normal mode is the easy mode, let's call it, and timeline mode is mostly what you're accustomed to from other video editors. You know, they have a timeline, you can drag and drop things and stuff like that. Other than that, you can of course open a project, and there are some interesting tools here, which I think I know what they're about because I also have some of those on my other program. Batch encode, of course, that's a tool you use to do multiple workflows, so you can edit 2 or 3 videos and have them render one after the other. That's batch encoding for you. So you can set it and then leave your house, do some chores or anything, and have the computer working on all of your files, all of your video projects, one after the other. Advanced tools, I'm gonna get into that, I guess, a bit later, but I think this is like you can cut and join videos, change the sound of it. You're gonna see what I mean, and there are preferences. Actually, let's start with preferences because that's always an important thing for people to see. So let's see. I'm also interested to see what we're gonna get here. So global settings first of all, time settings, and how frequently it auto saves. I think this is a new feature here. There has been a lot of work done, as I read on the website, in auto-saving and also manual saving. There are a few new features we're gonna get into as we progress through this video. But suffice to say, they've put some effort into the users not accidentally losing their work, which is always a good thing. Folder settings, well, you get the gist of it. It's kind of where you want anything that the program saves to go. Output folder, you can set things like creating a folder per project, I guess, how to name the project, yeah, and stuff like that. I'm interested in seeing this, but I guess this sounds boring, so I'm gonna move past it, and I'm gonna do this on my own time. Post-output process, interesting. What can you do here? All right, so this is the classic option of, let's say you have 5 files rendering or something like that, 5 projects. and you leave your home, and you not want your computer to be on all day after you finish after this computer finishes the rendering of our projects, it has no work to do. So you can select shutdown here, and the computer will shut down automatically after it's done with all of your projects. All right, so automatically save the project or something when shutting down. Very interesting. That's also something I would always keep checked. Notify at the end of output task. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's probably playing a notification sound or something. Yeah, you can see here. Right, as I said it right below, you can also choose the sound. Let's move to clip edit settings. Open the clip editing window when importing a single clip. Oh, okay, that's yeah, there is a mode here. You can insert clips, and then you can open individual clips in their clip editing window, so to speak, and that's a very, very powerful window. That's actually the main reason for using this program. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. I haven't used the program once again, but I have used a similar one from Pegasus, so I kind of know a few things going into this. Fast forward, backward on iframe only. Very important if you know what iframes are. Iframes, real quick here, are the kind of frames that are rendered fully, so they do not depend on other frames. And if you get into the habit of cutting only at iframes, you will not really need to re-encode and re-render anything. So it's good if you can target iframes during your edits, and only iframes. That's ideal. It's not usually how it plays out, but it's ideal if you can do this. Display a warning when a keyframe is found within cut range. All right, lots of stuff here. Thumbnail sizes, thumbnail intervals. Really interesting because the timeline you're gonna see displays some thumbnails, the edit window rather, not the timeline, and you can quickly browse through a video file. It's highly, highly useful, this thumbnail line. You're gonna see it later. Preview render settings, color formats and such. Scene chains, there is a very handy scene chains feature in I think all of the Pegasus programs. You can click the middle mouse button, if I'm not mistaken, and it fast forwards to the next detected scene change. So let's say you're recording, I don't know, a gameplay or something, and you're in one region. As soon as, let's say, a loading screen appears that completely changes what the screen displays, the program can actually detect such changes, right? So, and it will move you automatically towards that scene change, which makes editing very, very fast. I'm not really using it because it's not perfect, but if you have like scene changes that are very obvious, that could be of use to you. Preview navigation controls. Oh, that's how many frames you move by keyboard. Interesting. Default settings. Now that's if you insert the picture, how long by default it will last, or the same with text and subtitles. Really interesting. There are subtitles and much more powerful subtitles this time around, I read. So I'm very interested to test that out. This might be a long tutorial, the way I'm seeing this shape out. So I don't know if I might get all of this in one stream, but that's okay. We'll get it eventually. Just be prepared that this this is a very, very in-depth program, and it may take some time to explain everything. CPU, GPU. Now this is, let's see, is this where... Yeah, I think this is where the powerful stuff resides. You can have NVIDIA... Yes, please enable this. Have an NVIDIA card, for example, and if I enable NVIDIA CUDA here, it uses my GPU power in order to render the files. I think this is not for saving right now, the CUDA. I think it's just for displaying and displaying the files while I'm editing. There is also NVENC support for you NVIDIA users out there, and I think there is also the equivalent for AMD users, so do not worry about that. I saw that somewhere in the marketing text behind that there is support for the NVIDIA encoder, sorry, the AMD encoder as well. So that's very powerful because while it's not as good in terms of quality as CPU encoding, it's very fast encoding with your your GPU. GPU is faster, very faster, a bit worse in quality, but very faster. So it's if speed is of any importance to you, that's a very good feature to have, and one that I personally cannot live without. So this is an important thing. Enable CUDA full filtering. Interesting. Usually filters are processed by CPU. So this is interesting. If I can also use my GPU for filtering, that would be a first. Very interesting. You can see I have a GTX 1070 here, which requires me to restart the application, huh? Interesting. So we will have to restart it after this. Input-output format. There are a lot of input and output formats here. I'm quickly gonna move this down so you can see. You can pause this, maybe the video, if you like to see what it is. But suffice to say, there's AAC, AF, AMD, AV, Canon, DivX, Dolby, various Dolby things, Flax, Intel Media. You have your standard variety of H.264 and H.265 here. Media Foundation, MKV, of course. MP4 naturally. Lots of MPEGs, 1, 2, and otherwise. NVDEX. Oh, interesting. You also have Opus, which is a kind of new trending audio codec. Very interesting. OGG, of course. QuickTimes, Vorbis. Hey, this is interesting. VP9. We get support for what actually I think that's what YouTube uses internally. I might be mistaken, but I think that's Google's favorite here, VP9. You usually get VP8 in a lot of programs, but not VP9. All right, then of course waves. All right, let's see. File, render, reader, settings. Okay, that's not really interesting. Some AVI settings here. MPEG settings, you can get, do various things with a decoder. Oh, interesting. Actually, let's see. Should I change this to NVDEC? I mean, this is probably NVIDIA's, so video decoder. I think I should change this. At least I'm gonna try. A non-default decoder selected that I might have benefits in terms of speed. However, depending yada yada, it may become unstable and such. All right, so I'm gonna use NVDEC here. And we'll go standard decoder. Can I set the standard decoder somewhere? Intel Media SDK. I don't want Intel though. Let's leave everything at NVDEC, and I'm gonna see if something goes horribly wrong. We'll know that this is not working. The encoder. Oh, interesting. X264 encoder settings and X265 encoder settings. You can have 1-pass or 2-pass. It's always better to have 2-pass. It's much more powerful. So I'm gonna enable this, although it takes time. Hopefully they do a turbo first pass, which is like a very fast first pass, just to see where you can save some bitrate and stuff like that. I don't know the internals here. File extensions, MP4s, MP2s. Yeah, you can set these things up however you like. Subtitle display settings. Now subtitles are something new, so maybe let's take a look at this. Automatically load source subtitles when importing clips. Oh, this is for importing, not creating, which is what I'm actually more interested in. You can choose some fonts and stuff like that. Tahoma is a really ugly font to use, but okay, let's roll with it. Anyway, DivX, for whomever still uses that. Image file reader. Sure, VST plugin settings. Oh, that's interesting, and it already has detected all my plugins here, which I have. Oh man. If this can use VST plugins, I'm gonna be a very happy camper. Like, I have lots of useful stuff. Like, if this can actually use, for example, my RX denoiser, which is a very, very top of the industry denoiser right now. Now that would be nice. And I also have some various nice stuff here I can use for music, like the Hornet 31. Anyway, let's not remain at the screen too much. This has me excited, suffice to say. Proxy file, interesting. So we can create proxy files. I don't know when the program utilizes those, but let's see. All right, so we can have heavy MP4s. Let's leave it at MP4 because I'm guessing if I'm gonna create proxy files, maybe have them at the final format right away. So maybe that makes it easier for the final file to encode. Anyway, maximum resolution. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. 576 just for seeing this video quality. Let's leave it a medium and audio format. Linear PCM. Let's go with AAC. That's the final format I'm using usually. Batch encode. Yeah, let's leave that be for now. And player control settings. Yeah, you can. There's a play bar, which is like. Let me show you on the background, like this thing over here. If you can see this, it's a really small down here, but it has the various usual stuff like play, rewind, go forward, record, stop, and things like that. And you can control which buttons appear and in which order. So that's useful as well. All right, enough of the settings. Let's play OK. The application will proceed with its performance optimization. If not done, NVIDIA functions will not be enabled. Interesting. I think that happened as well the other time I used the other program. The first time I run it, it had to test out my. I don't know why it refers to it as NVIDIA CUDA. I think it's NVENC, but I'm not very knowledgeable in this part, so maybe I'm mistaken. Anyway, we have to start the optimization. So I don't have anything running, so I'm guessing it's a good time as any to do this. Let's just let this conclude. It's actually a good test to see how much time it takes to optimize. This is probably just measures how much CPU I have available, or how much GPU rather I have available as far as power is concerned, and then probably uses that in order to test out how much power the program should use, while also not really bogging down my computer completely. So I'm guessing it just leaves a few power cycles free for me to be able to browse the web and do stuff like that. It's not a very long process, actually. I was kind of expecting that I would have to do something else or pause the stream for a while, but yeah, it's done. So let's start the project first in the normal mode. That's what I'm very accustomed to. All right, so first you get a source wizard, which I've never used. You can also do this from inside the program. You do not need to do this now, but suffice to say you can import from files, from disks, from these kind of weird file types. Microsoft Media Center TV recorder file for some reason, pictures, and from pictures as a slideshow immediately. That's interesting. This is very useful, the color matte or pattern clip. So if you want to insert a few seconds of a black screen, let's say, or something like that, you can do this from here. And from assets, which, what is this? Displays the assets folder with which you can choose the asset files to add. Well, I don't know what this is yet, but we'll see. Anyway, for now, I'm going to just cancel this. And let's maximize this baby. Let's see what it can do. All right, this is kind of familiar. You have your file list here, your clip list, actually. It's what it's called, but you just drop in files here. And yeah. So let's add some files. I don't know. I'm going to do this on my second screen here, so bear with me. Let's go into my gaming video folder. Let's see, where do I have some stuff we can use? I've been recording Neverwinter Nights lately, so hopefully I have a few files there. Alright, so I have 2 episodes actually recorded, which is nice. Let's bring in 2 episodes at once and see what happens. 2 video files at once, that is. Alright, so I'm gonna select episode 1 and 2, and now I'm dragging them into the window. Let's see. More than one clip will be added. Do you wish to add the clips without displaying the clip editing window? So what this says right now is that if you import a single clip, it will automatically open the clip editing window, which is like what 99% of the time you would like the program to do anyway, because, well, that's the it's the heart of the program, this clip editing window, you'll see. But for now, I'm gonna just click yes, and what this does is add the clips without actually opening them, right? So interesting. So now you have a list of clips here, right? So 2 episodes in my case. Let's see what's happening. You get your vanilla here variety of information about the video itself, right? So like things like frame rates, resolution, time, and things like that. Codecs, very interesting. So you can see kind of if you have the same format of files here, maybe that makes things easier. In the other program that I have, and that is worth mentioning here, which is the TMPGEnc Smart Renderer, like Smart Renderer. It's a simpler program than this, but it has one major added advantage. If you add clips that are completely the same format, so the same codec, same resolution, and same frame per second, not the same bitrate, that's not necessary, but if the first 3 things are the same, you can join them very fast. It's a very fast muxer, so to speak. It joins files like you can join like I don't know, 10 hours worth of files in just I don't know, like a half an hour. So it's very fast because it actually doesn't re-encode stuff. That's the good thing with this smart renderer, and why I've been using it for quite a few years now. But anyway, let's continue seeing what's going on here. So we can select whether the file is output or not, right? So if I want to quickly, interesting, let's see. Oh, okay. All right, I get it. So if you deselect one of those and go to render, which I don't know where it is. Yeah, it's here in code. We're gonna get to that. If you deselect one of those, it's simply not gonna render, right? So if you want to quickly render only, let's say 2 of them, right? Or even better, now I can think of a very useful instance where this can be useful. Let's say you have like, I don't know, 20 files here, and you decide that you do not want to join them all into one file. You want to make 2 episodes out of those 20 files. You can select the first 10 and output them as 1 episode, then select the next 10 and deselect the first 10 and make the second episode. So that's a useful feature actually, because on the other program I used to keep a different save, 2 saves of a file, and then delete files as needed, and that was tedious. So this is a good implementation, a good feature to have. All right, so let's see. You can do various stuff here. Remember, this is the simple version of the program, right? There's gonna be a timeline editing thing later on. We're gonna see. Source wizard is what we saw. Can, for example, let me show you. I can enter, like, I don't know, let's say I can enter 3 seconds of a black screen at the... Oh, why is this not working? Let me go at this once again. 030. Oh, for some reason it doesn't wanna. All right, I don't know. Oh, it's probably because I have a wrong profile here. Let's see, does this work now? If I type 4, for example, no, it doesn't. I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard, but okay. Let's just add 3 seconds of black screen here. Now this is new. Oh, this is just the clip edit screen, right? All right, so no, I'm not gonna do anything to it right now. Let's just add this. This is just 3 seconds of of black screen, and you can use this for fading in purposes or stuff like that. All right, so we can add a file here, which is just what you might expect. Add a slideshow. That's interesting. So this opens a slideshow creation tool, I guess, and you can add pictures or even an entire folder, it seems here. picture, and also you can add audio. Very interesting. So you can actually create within this tool a complete slideshow and then enter it as a clip here. Very interesting. So if you have lots of pictures, and that's actually something I might use because I have a lot of pictures and I would like to save them as video as well because, well, you know, pictures are boring and videos are cool. So I guess this is gonna come very in handy at some point to me. Let's see. Should I add? I don't have any real interesting pictures. Let me add my thumbnails here just for fun. I'm gonna add 2 thumbnails. All right. This is, yeah, it's a bit boring, 1 and 2, but all right. That's that's what I got right now. So bear with me. So let's see. What can we do here? Custom settings. So first of all, there's probably some automatic settings you can just put this in. Let's see how this looks. I cannot play this. Oh, I can preview this. All right, so let's see how this looks automatically. Oh, this is just a straight cut. So that's definitely not what I want. I do like having some transitions. Let's see, display duration. Let's go down to 2 seconds. And this is where you can add a transition. What's the catalog? Oh, interesting. You can either select from the drop-down menu or you can have this sort of menu and choose whatever you like. And there are some previews, which are very, very useful here. So you can have lots of crazy stuff here. Let's go with this, for example. Let's preview it. Yeah, it's not the best pictures I've used. So maybe let me get the thumbnail of another game. So let's see, let's go ahead and I'll delete this one and get a different picture that's, yeah, very different. Yeah, I know, my pictures are boring, right? They're from games, I'm sorry. But I really do not want to use real life pictures right now. So that's what we'll work with. All right, so you can see it's quite smooth, quite nice. What else can we do? Easing. This is a feature, very nice. This is a newly added feature here, which I'm very excited about because it chooses, you know, sometimes how you don't really, you like the transition, but you don't really like the speed of it. Now there's your chance to actually control it very closely. So right now you have a, this is sort of like a speed graph. I'm fairly certain of it. So this said that the transition is going to happen linearly. So very, very predictably. You can do this in another way though. You can do things like exponential, which is very useful. Like for, let's see, let's do an exponential change here. Yeah, I'm gonna take a different a different transition though. Let's do a something that shows the speed, like, I don't know, slides. Let's go to the catalog again and see. Yeah, that would, the slide and slide left will show us exactly what's happening because it's a very, very distinct transition. So you can see it speeds up, right? It goes slow at first, but then it speeds up. That's your exponential transition curve, right? So let's see. Let's do something crazy now, like the elastic. That's gonna be bouncing. You can see it bounces. It doesn't only transition forward, it also transitions back. So it's gonna be sort of bouncing in and out. Let's see how this looks. This is gonna be crazy. Yeah, you can clearly see how it bounces there. So you can see you have all sorts of interesting things you can do now that they added this easing option here. Very nice. Very, very interesting. So let me show you. You can have types. Like so, key splines, power signs, quadratic, cubics, even quintics. And the mode, oh, in, out, or in and out. Let's see, interesting. So what if I go in and out? Oh man, that's gonna be very crazy now. Let's see. So you can see it bounces kind of both ways. Interesting. All right, so very fine control is what I'm getting at. Let's put this back here, disabled. Resize, display entire picture or zoom to fit without extra border. Interesting. Now, this is not something I can preview here, unfortunately, because my pictures are perfectly sized. See, being perfect is sometimes a disadvantage. If I had like a 4:3 picture, probably that would zoom in the picture to make it 16:9, right? So that's more than likely what this is. But anyway, let's see. Animation, interesting. A zoom in animation. Is this like automatic or what? Let's preview this. Oh, interesting. So you can see the first picture is kind of zooming in while the second one comes. Yeah, that's interesting. That's very nice. I could do this actually. I could. This is acceptable for me as a professional quality slideshow already. The program, I don't have to automate anything further. That would be nice. And also it has zoom out. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's the exact opposite. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be. Nice. So anyway, a slideshow program here. Very interesting. What else? Edit clip. Now probably, let's go to a clip here. If we press this, oh no, edit clip is actually a header. You can see input file has these 3 options. Edit clip has these options here and others. Well, you can see kind of what this does up and down. You can rearrange them. You can delete them, clear everything, or even, and this is interesting, switch to timeline mode. Now bear in mind, and I've read this also in the marketing page, that when you go from one mode into the other, you have to be kind of careful. If you go from the normal to the timeline mode, that's fine, because the timeline mode is more complicated, so you're not going to be losing anything that you did with the normal mode. However, if you go from timeline mode to normal mode, now this is where things could start getting lost, because timeline mode, you can do things like have 2 video files playing on top of each other, like picture in picture and stuff. And well, normal mode does not support this, right? So if you go back to normal mode, these things will be lost. So you have to be careful about this. Anyway, clip edit. Now, let's see what we have here. Cat edit. I'm guessing this opens the... Interesting. This opens the... yeah, this opens... This is... Well, welcome to the clip editing window, I guess. This is the whole heart of the program. So, since I opened it, let's go through this. What do you have? Here on the left, it doesn't show, but you have keyframes. So, for example, if I were to press this button here, this adds a keyframe, and then the keyframes are listed here. You can see kind of how it works, and you can, of course, move between them very fast. You can delete them or rename them, and, well, all the usual stuff you can do to keyframes, I guess. Anyway, let's leave them be for right now. What else? This is the time. This is, of course, the preview window. Let's see. You can have various display sizes, right? So, for example, 50%, or display at the original ratio, display at corrected. Let's go to 100. Yeah, 100 is very large. I will not be able to see this. Apart from using this, is it? Oh, there's a fit to preview area, which is perfect. You can do that. You can also use your mouse, I'm fairly certain. So if I hold Control, let's see. Yeah, it's the same as my other program. You can see you enter manual settings, and if you scroll up or down, you can go in and out, zoom in and out. It doesn't seem to have a fit to preview, unfortunately, so you kind of have to go with the right-click menu here if you want to fit to preview area. Well, there you have it. All right, what else? The interlace, display at corrected or original aspect ratios, display settings, frame status, current frame information, all sorts of useful things. Audio waveform, which you can see is right here. It's not very visible. Let me enlarge this. This is the waveform here. That's very interesting. You can detect when somebody starts talking, for example, in a frame. And yeah, and edit right there. What else? Thumbnails, speed marks. I have no idea what speed marks are, to be honest with you. And then you have various group of picture settings here, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I know nothing about, but I probably will at some point. This is my first time using this, so bear with me. Alright, anyway, now let's see. You get here the volume. You can see this, for example. Alright, let me just lower my classic music here. All right, and now let's see. Now you can see clearly left and right channels here displaying. And by the way, I'm auto-ducking my music right now, so this is not what exactly what the video sounds like. Right, you're hearing the final mix. But anyway, so this is the thumbnail area. Let me put some classic music back just for fun. All right, so this is the thumbnail area. You can see every time there's an iframe, there's a new thumbnail generated. You can enlarge this or make this smaller, however you like. I have very fast frames here, very fast group of pictures at 1 second, so that's why you see the thumbnails being so close to each other. Usually most people will have at least 2 seconds. That's the usual standard, so it will fit nicely a whole picture here. You can actually see what's happening. It's just my my settings that kind of throw this off a bit right now. But anyway, you can, and this is very powerful, you can of course click onto it and move very fast through your video. You can also use the right click and sort of go slowly if you have the right, if you have your mouse positioned near the center of the screen, or you can start going faster and faster and faster. You can see it displays more of those green triangles as I do this, and you can go back as well, increase speed, decrease speed, so you kind of have a very fine control here. Keep in mind though that this really only displays iframes, right? So if I go very slowly, you can see it doesn't. Let's go to a place where there's action actually here. All right, so for example, I am moving my mouse here. If you see, you have various. Nah, that's not a good spot. Let's go somewhere else. Man, I'm not really moving a lot in this episode, am I? All right, suffice to say, when you use this timeline here and you move by the right click, you will only see the screen change during iframes. You can see I'm moving very slowly just to show you what's happening. So if you go very quickly, it doesn't matter because iframes is all you need. But if you go very slowly, and let's say you have, and that's a weakness of a program, right? Let's say you have a group of pictures set at 10 seconds. So an iframe every 10 seconds, that is, right? If you move like this slowly, you'll only get one picture per 10 seconds, which really doesn't help you edit, right? So you either have to do something like I do here and have very small group of pictures, like 1 second. That's the keyframe interval also that I'm referring to as group of pictures, right? So in case anyone is wondering, keyframe interval group of pictures, that's like the same thing. But anyway, either you do that or you use the speed settings here. So I can play at normal speed. You can fast forward ×2. You can see right there, this is double the speed. You can triple, quadruple, how much I want, and this depends on what your CPU and GPU can handle. For example, this is a very simple game, so even if I go at ×6, you can see the movement is quite smooth. If this were like a very fast-paced game or something very complex to render, or even 4K, let's say, or 8K, God forbid, video file here, yeah, that would not have been possible for me to actually view this smoothly in fast-forward mode. Anyway, let's move along though. Now we talked about this. You have, of course, your, I don't know what to call this. Let's call this timeline, I guess. And you can hear, as I scroll through this, you can also hear some sound. Let me lower the classic music. So listen to this. You can listen some sound as you scroll through. So this is actually interesting in case you want to find out where you start talking. For example, let's say that this screen is constantly like that, but you want to find the place where you start talking, and you can scroll through this and actually audibly listen where that point is and start editing there. Very useful. So other than that, this is a very useful and sneaky feature here. You can, if you do have a video that is desynchronized to the sound, so let's say that you have a movie and your character is talking, your protagonist is talking, but the sound comes a bit later than his lips start moving, right? So you need to sync this. Let's say that your character starts talking, and the things he says start sounding a half a second after his lips start moving, right? You need to input here, for example, 500, which is half a second. You can see this is in milliseconds, but it also translates it to seconds directly here. You can sync your sound very easily like this. All right, so other than that, this is the heart of the window here. You have various very, very large buttons. First of all, you can add or delete keyframes very easily. You can set the clip split points. Let's see. Oh, that creates 2 splits. I'm not working very much with this. I think you can choose one to reject and one to keep or something like that. Or you can even do multiple splits, like, all right, and now say reject all the purple ones or reject all the blue ones and stuff like that. Now you can see it's very easy to go back to them. You do not have to precisely hunt them. You can just click on the timeline here and it will directly teleport you to them if you want to fix them or delete them. Now let's see. Oh, it moves to you can move to the previous keyframe. So let's, for example, set a keyframe here, and then I'm here. Now I can move to the previous keyframe. Oh, moves to the previous source keyframe. All right. Oh, actually, what this does, it doesn't move to the manual keyframe as set. It actually moves to the previous iframe, right? So this is another group of pictures thing, another keyframe interval thing. You can see it actually moves 1 second its time, which is my keyframe interval. So that's what it's doing. It's hunting for iframes. Previous frame, this only moves 1 frame, right? So it doesn't matter. It goes to the P frame, B frame, and stuff like that. Whereas this button only goes to iframes. Moves to the start of the... moves to... what did it say? Moves to the start frame. Now all the way... yeah, that goes all the way to the start of the end. You can do the same thing with home and end buttons. That's what I'm pressing right now on my keyboard. That's like very rudimentary stuff that every video editor does. Not really anything groundbreaking here. This is now the interesting part. You can set start frames and end frames. For example, let's say that, let me go to the start of my video. Let's say that I don't want my intro. I can, right now, everything is selected because it's blue, right? If I press, let me show this another way. If I press start here and then go here and press end, now you can see this part is selected, right? Naturally between the start and the end points that I just set. And I can choose to cut this out, right? So if I cut this, now boom, it just cuts it, right? So it's pretty simple. I went back by pressing Ctrl Z, which is undo. You can undo and redo, and you can do this a lot of times actually in this program. It's very flexible. So yeah, and let's go ahead and set this back right here. So there you can easily split your video files with this window and cut away non-important stuff. So you can go here, let's say you have some gameplay, find all your loading screens. Let's say this is the start of a loading screen, this is the end of a loading screen. Boom, I'm cutting it out. Let's go to another loading screen. This is the start of it, this is the end of it. Boom, I'm cutting it out, and so on and so forth. And you can quickly remove unwanted parts this way. All right, this is a new thing. For anybody who's a veteran of this program, this is very important. I know many people are gonna scoff at this, but this is actually important. You can now save the project from within the edit clip window. You cannot do this. You couldn't do this in the previous version. So what people did was press OK, go here and save, right? And then go back inside and continue working because you want to save often, right? And it becomes tedious. Doing, my workflow, for example, would be just going in, doing, I don't know, 5 or 10 edits, and then pressing OK, coming out, saving, and going back in again. And that was tediously pressing OK, going back and forth between it, because I just wanted to save. I didn't want to do anything else, right? So now you can safely do this from here. You can even continue saving and continue editing and just press Control S, right? Are you sure you want to save the project and stuff like that? All right. Not right now, but you get the gist of it. It's a faster workflow, and that's always a good thing. All right, so let's move away from this for now. Or actually, let's not. There are various things in this window that I didn't yet explore with you. Right now we're in the cat edit mode, right? There's also a filter mode. And this is all new to me because the other program I'm using doesn't even have filters. So let's see what we get. Add filter. Oh, interesting. So it has some filters by default, but we can also add others here. Right, so let's first see what it has. We have like crop. Let's see how this works. Very nicely. You can crop this right inside here. And I'm guessing this you have to be careful because this applies. Does this apply to the whole thing? Let's see. So if I do this like here and press OK. Now let's see what happens during the cut edit. Oh, it doesn't really display though, does it? I mean, I have crop enabled. All right, let's test this out. Let's say I have crop and it just shows my, let's make it really, really tiny here. Now the cut edit window doesn't display this. But let me delete this here. Let's go to the, I'm gonna forgo the format right now. Oh, okay. So I need to actually select something. Okay, let's select something quickly. MP4 file, for example. Just select this. And I'm gonna go to the output preview. Yeah, you can see there. Now the output, I knew this beforehand from the other program, but the output preview is actually where you get to see your final product, right? So if I were to display this, you can clearly see it does indeed crop my selection. While I'm here though, in the edit window, it doesn't really show. It just shows you the whole thing, and on top of it, your crop points. Video denoise. Interesting. You get, of course, a few filters, a few parameters for each of the filters you enable down here. So let's see. So right now, although I have enabled this, it still needs me to enable this one. That's interesting. Oh, there's two kinds of denoisers. All right, cool. So one is already enabled, the temporal one. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of noise here. Could there be a part here with some noise? Let's see if this considers this noise, but yeah, I don't really have that. I should have some picture to test this out. Anyway, let's enable this noise as well. Let's see. Let's make something extreme here and see how this Alright, so actually I don't know what's happening. I should have some picture here in order for this to be more visible. Anyway, you have video denoise, so that's the gist of it. Contour, color correction. Now this is interesting. Color correction is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in. So let's enable this and go see what it offers. We have simple, luminance, contrast, gamma, and chroma. Very, very interesting stuff here. Nice. And you can reset this very quickly. What is this? This probably moves, yes, everything along together. Although I don't know why you'd want to do this. RGB with various methods here. So you can manipulate your red, greens, blues, and I don't know what the Y is, to be honest with you. Probably transparency or something. UVs mix. Well, you got your all color formats here. It doesn't seem to do a lot though. I was expecting things like loots and stuff to be inside here, and I think they are, but they are not in this menu. So probably what's happening here is that because we are in the normal editing mode, which is the the easy mode, for lack of better definition, we do not have all the controls that are available shown right here. So if we go to the timeline mode, I'm expecting this to be much more complex. Anyway, you have color correction, you have audio denoise, very interesting, but actually I don't know if this is good. I'm hoping you can use plugins, external plugins for denoising, but the fact that it has an internal audio denoiser is good for people who do not have external denoisers, I guess. So that's a good addition. Let's see. You get various strengths, interesting detection, so you can probably select a portion of your audio that only has noise on it, and or does this do it automatically? Interesting. I think it does it automatically, which is not very ideal, but yeah, let's stop this. You also have an audio noise gate, very interesting. If you know what an audio noise gate is. If you don't, there are lots of guides on the internet. Let's not stop the video to explain this, because that's going to be a whole other video if I did so. Anyway, so you get a noise gate and an audio denoiser. Volume adjustment, now this is important. You can, let's see, yes, you have volume normalization, so you can choose your peak volume, let's say it, and have everything normalized to that. Like for example, if you have a clip that has very low audio and another clip that has very loud audio, you can normalize them both to 95%, and then they're gonna have the same peaks, right? There's a better way of doing this though, than the volume normalization, and that is volume uniformization. And I think they've added, yes, finally, they have added various loudness standards here. So I'm usually liking this, the EBU R128. This is very popular in Europe. So I'd like to apply this. I will be applying this to all of my my clips, just to make certain that first of all they comply with the standards that are set here, and also that they are very similar to each other. So if I didn't do this, maybe from one clip to the next one, the volume would change so much that my viewer would be annoyed, right? And he would have to constantly fiddle with his volume knobs, and eventually close my video because it would be like annoying to keep adjusting the volume. With this way, if I apply this loudness profile to all of my clips, I can make sure my viewer doesn't have to do this, right? So it would make the volume of all of my clips sort of equal, let's say. All right, picture resize, that's self-explanatory, I guess, and speed, interesting. So what can we do here? Interpolation. Now this is a new feature. That's very interesting. Let's see. Simple interpolation, optical flow. I don't actually know what the developers mean with that. But if I, for example, let's go and do this at let's do a slow-mo.
As humans, I told you we are getting...
Yeah, it doesn't seem to actually interpolate anything right now. I know for a fact, though, that this program features an all-new filter for interpolation. What interpolation is, it generates frames that aren't existent. How to explain this? Let's say, for example, I have a video that has 25 frames per second, right? If I make a slow motion of it, like play this back at 50% speed, it's gonna be kind of ugly, because that will make it like what's the half of 25? 12.5 frames per second, right? That will look ugly. That will look very choppy, actually, like I don't know, very old school video or something. What frame interpolation does is actually generate frames, intermediary frames, and kind of smooths out the whole slow motion thing. So for example, I could make a video, this is the simplest way I can think of explaining this. I could make a video that has 25 frames per second, be a video of 50 frames per second, right? Like double this. And actually the frames would be it would be like you had recorded this at 50 frames per second. Not quite, but it's well, this is tough to explain unless I can show this to you. But suffice to say, this is very useful for slow motion videos, or even if you want to just make your video look a bit smoother, have that soap opera effect that we usually call this. So that's very interesting. Reverse mute, keep original audio pitch. Interesting. So I can have this checked, and now lots of goodies. You can hear that actually my voice is not sounding very nice because probably I've lowered this too much. Let's go with 75%. So, okay, I'm proud of me. Let's see, let's go for the standards one, the ones that are in white text, not in gray. So you can see you have various fighter classes, so to speak, barbarian. Yeah, it's actually still not that good. Hopefully, with the timeline mode, I will have some finer control over it. Anyway, let's see what else we have. And by the way, as I predicted, this is gonna be a long series of videos because we just started and we are already at the 1 hour mark of the stream here. So let's go through a few of the filters, and then I'm probably gonna cut this stream short and come back with another stream, and we will see the rest of the features. Because remember, we are still exploring just the normal, I don't know, the easy mode of this program, right? So there's gonna be a lot more stuff to talk about when we get to the advanced mode, which is called the timeline mode here. Anyway, let's see. So what video filters do we have? There's corrections. So crop, picture rotation, anti-flicker, video denoise, precision video denoise, interesting. Contour sharpness, smart sharpness, interesting. There's a few versions of filters here that sound more powerful than their predecessors. Stabilizer, that's very nice. All right, give me a sec. All right, so where were we? Stabilizer is very nice because you can correct shaky videos and stuff. Very interesting if you are like, I don't know, like you're recording stuff with your motorcycle or things like that from a moving car. That's very, very useful. Lens correction, if you have a specific lens that needs to be corrected in order to look better. Color phase correction, color correction, perspective correction, panorama expandment. There's a lot of stuff here. All right, I'm just gonna go through them, just tell you the titles of the video filters for right now. In the next video, we're gonna dive into them a bit more. So there's effects here, fade in and out, blur, mosaic, masks, glow, soft focus, vintage film, glitch noise, diorama. Interesting. There's some very, very trendy stuff in here. Subtitles, nice. So subtitles, interestingly, are considered an effect here. Let's quickly add subtitles, maybe just to see. So where are subtitles? All right, so you can see here. You can first of all choose where to add a subtitle. Let's add one just for fun. What do we get? Enable text, picture. So we can have this actually hard-coded into our video file. That is very, very flexible here. So what I'm actually talking about is you can store the subtitle as a text or as a picture. Text is, of course, much more flexible. You can export it and re-encode it and do whatever you want with it, actually. But some devices do not support text subtitles, right? So you have to, for these devices, the simple devices usually, you have to encode subtitles as a picture. Essentially, you have to burn them in the image, right? So what you do that though, you cannot take the subtitles out. So if you hard code them, for example, let's say English subtitles, and there comes a French viewer, he will have to actually see these English subtitles all the time. He cannot remove them. So anyway, and QR code. I don't even know what to start with that. All right, anyway, so you have subtitles. Paint, frame blend, chroma key, time lapse, frame interpolation. There you have it. Frame interpolation. Is this? Yeah, this is like, I don't know. Is that the same? Frame rate scale. This bears much more exploring. I'm not gonna go into this right now. Let's just continue going. And that's all the video filters. Then you have audio filters. Let's see. Corrections and effects. Corrections, you have audio denoise, audio compressor. Very interesting that they've added a compressor. I bet this is a very simple one. Well, at least here it's a very simple one. Bilingual audio. Man, there's all sorts of interesting stuff here. Use main signal, sub signal mix down to mono. I don't know what to start with this, but the fact that you can have bilingual audio in some shape or form is interesting. Audio effects, fade-ins, audio pitch shifts. Interesting. How advanced is that? Let's see. It's very simple. Okay. I was hoping there would be like a, I don't know what this is called, but not just the key. You know, you can correct other stuff when doing audio pitch shift. But anyway, this is a very simple one. Retro sound karaoke. Oh, you know what? Karaoke, I know what this is. You can probably vary, have some effects on the text you display. And sometimes, of course, the text doesn't, doesn't get spoken in a linear speed. So you can actually vary the speed, I guess, with something like the karaoke filter. Yeah, with this bears much more exploring. VST plugins. Now this I have to explore. Let's see. Oh man, this could be a game changer. Guys, you can add the VST plugins from here, right? So this is for audio filters only though, of course, right? Yeah, you can see this clearly is listed under audio filters. So you can add your external VST plugins into this program. I'm gonna be using this, for example, to add my denoiser at times. Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun working with this program. I can't wait to actually explore this further. Anyway, so that's about all the filters we have for now. Okay, so we did a good 1 hour of previewing this. This is the first time I've opened the program, so this has kind of been exciting for me. And we saw the general screen. We saw the normal, the easy mode. Not all of it, actually. We just saw the edit window here. So in the next stream, we're going to continue with the normal edit mode, see the formats, the encode options, the output preview. And if we have time, we'll transition also to the expert mode, which is called the timeline mode. You can see it right here, which is actually how usually video editing programs work in a timeline mode. Anyway, that's enough for this stream though. Thank you everybody for watching, live or after the fact. Remember, I'm also uploading all my live streams, the highlights of my live streams actually on DTube and also on YouTube. But I urge you to go and check DTube first because it's a community blockchain driven program and it's worthy of our support, I believe. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next episode, I guess. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.